This is Zoop, a puzzle game developed by Hookstone Productions and published by Viacom New Media in 1995. The game features a unique look and feel while offering up a simple gameplay premise that's easy to learn but difficult to master. Zoop isn't one you hear spoken of very often these days though. However, decades after its release, it remains one of my go-to games in the puzzle genre. At the time of Zoop's release, Viacom New Media clearly had big expectations for the game. Quirky, full-page ads pushed the game in magazines. It was also accompanied by a crazy television commercial on TV, and even the game box itself featured some pretty bold statements. If that wasn't enough, Viacom made Zoop available across a whopping 9 different platforms in most major regions. This was unprecedented at a time when a multi-platform release this large was typically relegated to major movie or arcade tie-ins. Unfortunately for Viacom, reviews upon release seemed to rate it about average at best, and it didn't take long for the game to reach bargain bins at retail. Some reviews noted the game's addictive nature, but others talked about the blatant complacency many were feeling about the puzzle genre at the time. Keep in mind that several years prior, Tetris took the world by storm, and many companies would try to cash in on this new puzzle trend for years, with many knockoffs and cash-ins that probably didn't need to exist. By the time Zoop released in 1995, burnout had hit even the most devoted fans of the genre. Despite seeing the ads myself, I didn't take much notice of Zoop until I accidentally came across a friend's Game Gear that happened to have a cart in it. When I gave it a try, I was immediately hooked. I played this scaled-down version quite a bit when I had the chance, and just a year or two later I would pick up a sealed copy of the Sega Genesis version for myself. As a high school teen with little obligations and lots of time, I played it frequently and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One thing that captivated me about Zoop is that it's a puzzle game with action elements. Rather than focusing on the player dropping blocks, the game has you pinned in the center of the playfield attacking outwards at incoming objects. I've always been more of a fan of fast-paced, arcade-style action games, so this offensive style of gameplay really clicked with me naturally. There is, of course, the obligatory puzzle element that goes along with the fast action. For instance, only objects of the same color as you can be cleared. Hit an object with a different color, and you'll swap colors with that object. Like many games in the puzzle genre, the puzzle element is further emphasized by a scoring system. Additional bonus points are given for clearing multiple same-colored objects in a single swipe, and clearing an entire row of same-colored enemies will award you the most points. Scoring the best means you'll need to follow the puzzle element closely and approach the game with a methodical playstyle, intentionally changing the colors of the foremost objects to match the ones behind them. This allows for longer chains to form and bigger points to be cashed in at a faster rate. Zoop doesn't require you to play a specific way though. You're free to play as fast or methodical as you want. Playing fast yields less points, but it definitely proves to be an energetic experience nonetheless. The unfortunate thing about Zoop is that there's just not much else to it. 2 gameplay modes do exist, but they vary little in execution. There's some golden icon power-ups as well that help you clear enemies faster, and collecting springs on the playfield will wipe everything off the board, giving you a clean slate to work with. These are a little random, and aside from them, there's nothing much else to work with gameplay-wise. Being the bare-bones package it is, it's a tough sell to someone requiring a more fleshed-out experience. Surprisingly though, for me, it remains an enjoyable experience at its core that's still a ton of fun to play. The clean visuals and chilled-out music also help keep it enjoyable, despite there not being much to it. As was mentioned earlier, Zoop was released on 9 different platforms across varying regions. The Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis versions are by far the cheapest and the most common to acquire for anyone that collects real cartridges, and they're pretty good ways to experience the game. If classic handhelds are your thing, Zoop is also available on Nintendo's Game Boy and Sega's Game Gear. Both versions replace the unique shapes for thin, rectangular blocks, but the gameplay remains the same and they both play well. An upgraded Sony PlayStation version features pre-rendered graphics as well as an electronic soundtrack. The PS1 version of Zoop was also released on the Sega Saturn in Japan, and from what I can tell, both versions are identical. Zoop did find its way to the IBM PC compatible as well as Macintosh computer systems. I can't vouch for the Mac version as I wasn't able to track down a copy for this video, but the IBM PC version runs at a higher resolution than the console versions, and as such, it's the sharpest looking version available. Last but not least, there was also an Atari Jaguar port of Zoop, and this is actually my favorite version to play. It features slightly sharper visuals than the 16-bit renditions, and it's the only console version to feature high score saving after powering off the system. This is a great feature as it gives me incentive to try to improve on my old scores when I come back to play at a later time. Zoop may not be the most talked about puzzle game out there, but to me it's an overlooked gem still worth playing, even if it's a little bare bones in nature. The addictive quality of the gameplay, the clean yet abstract graphic style, and the relaxing music still holds up well today. If you're a fan of puzzle games or want to simply try something new, feel free to give it a shot and let me know what you think. Hey everyone, Austin here. This is just the post-credits part. Wanted to give a big shout out to all my Patreon supporters which just scrolled by the screen. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, feel free to click that Patreon icon right up there on your screen. If you're brand new to my channel, click that G icon in front of you to subscribe. I've got a ton of Let's Plays on my channel and hopefully more reviews and retrospectives and things like that to come in the future. I also have live streams every Thursday, so feel free to tune into that as well. I hope to see you on a future video, and once again guys, thanks a lot for watching.